everyone, how are you today? Well, that's a little, hey. I want you to clap a little bit. Let's clap on our hands to wake us up. Are we ready? Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Welcome to Sanofi's booth. We are very happy, excited to welcome you for another session. As you know, we're using AI, we're using a lot of innovation to chase the miracles of science to improve people's lives. So now we will talk about an important subject, augmented clinical trials with AI. And for that, please welcome our next speakers, Audrey Lhomme and Lionel Bascles. Welcome to both. Let's start maybe by talking a little bit about the ambition of Sanofi regarding digital. What are we talking about, Audrey?
Yeah, welcome everyone. Happy to have you here.
Do we have the remote control, yeah?
I don't have any.
Okay.
That's okay.
Greg, remote, le clicker. Yes, the remote control. Give us 1 sec. Yes. Thank you.
Well, welcome to Sanofi booth, and we are really happy to have you here. We would like to share with you that our ambition from digital in partnership with all our business function is to be really to enable to have the time from discovery to therapy. What does it mean? We want to cut the time by half between the discovery of a drug until it goes to the market, to the patients. We want also to become the first biopharma company powered by AI at scale. The at-scale part is really super important for us because we don't want to do small initiatives here and there. We really want to put it at scale so that it becomes available for everyone. Across the different therapeutic area, across the different business departments in the company. So we want to be a first-in-class and best-in-class science to deliver faster drug to patients. And we will come to that. We will explain to you what it means for us today to deliver drugs to the patients.
So let's start with a little bit of context. What's involved in creating a drug? Tell us. Lionel, you have to come a little bit here because there's the headphones over there. And okay. Lionel.
I try to let you look at the slide, but then you'll have to look at my face, which is nice as well. Basically, this is a long process. We're talking about innovation in healthcare, so we start with research, then go to molecular design. So basically, what that slide represents, it's a long process, but also the fact that when we say that we're using digital at scale at Sanofi, that means that we're investing in every single element, every single step in the process of development of a new drug. From research to commercial, we will insist later on the clinical trial aspect, this is topic, but I mean, to give you a flavor of what we do, we have target identifications, leveraging AI. We design the molecule based on AI to make sure the best structure that could fit with the target, and then all the steps we're leveraging data and AI to accelerate those steps, but also to connect, and I will come back to that later. So today we'll be really focusing on how we develop clinically those drugs, so when they enter into development, how can we accelerate the path forward in getting the efficacy and safety elements to submit the dossier to the agency.
And tell us, why is Sanofi investing in an AI for clinical trials?
Well, so we are at a turning point and a historical situation where we can use AI at every step of this pathway. So what we want to do is really to find every spaces to find where we can reduce the time for the patients. Meaning we can today with AI compute a lot of data. We can have access and automate a lot of different processes. So this is really where we are going to insist, because we want also to shorten the white space between those different phases. We will see also in our presentation that we are capable to look back thanks to data with real-world data to ingest them later, earlier on in the process. So yeah, this is where we go.
And what type of example could be interesting to share with us?
Well, we will see different examples today. One of them is how we can write documents faster. This is the easiest one, simple for everyone. Another one is how we can have the best protocol for the patients, to improve the protocol design, to reduce also the dosage of our molecule, to simulate a lot of steps like the dosage, find the best indication, the best population. But also what we are trying to do is to have safer drugs for the patients. Yeah.
That's great. Lionel, back to you. What's the overall process of a clinical trial? I'm sure with not knowing that, what are the different steps?
Well, I mean, indeed, it starts in the lab, on the bench, identifying the target, designing the molecule, and then we have a go into development, which is called an M2, which is that we have a lead candidate that enter in development and enter into the preclinical stage, with a number of in silico model being used, but also to make sure that we identify some of the safety risk and potentially efficacy benefit before we go to phase 1, which is often a healthy volunteer step where we assess the impact of the body on the drug. Except in oncology, because of the type of molecule, we go directly to patient, and then we move to can we validate the efficacy? Can we make sure that there is a signal that can be obtained? There is enough of the tolerance in the phase 2, and then when it's proven, then we go to the phase 3, which is a large number of patients, and these are the pivotal trials that we will be using for the submissions to the agencies, and all the data will be reviewed. It's highly regulated. At every step, there is an interactions with the different agencies in the US, in Europe, in Japan, in China. And so to make sure that we are going in the right directions, and if there's any risk or any signal, we need to go back to the bench and redesign our process.
And is it always sequential and independent on each, for each of the drugs, as it seems on the slide that we just saw?
Just looking at my face, you can realize that I started in a sequential approach, because we were doing. He's smiling. We were doing indeed. You go to research, you go to preclinical, and then as you fail, you go back, but you have limited learning from one step to the other. Now what is possible is that at every step we learn and we organize this feedback loop to improve, because in a way, just remember that for any drug we out of the research, the probability of success, the probability of reaching the market is 5 to 10%. Okay, it's very limited. That means that we need to have a series of a portfolio. And the first one will inform the second one, and maybe only the third one or the 20th one will be the successful one. But there is this loop, or feedback loop that are organized, and it's highly performing now with AI, because it's immediate. And we can even, it's not only feedback loop, we can also predict. So now when we have a target identification, we say this target, based on the profile and the data existing, can be this level of efficacy, this risk in terms of safety. And then all along, we validate or invalidate those hypotheses, and we are even building models. So what is it to be, and you will see that in the next, what is it to be a patient suffering from asthma? And we can have those digital twin organized and helping assessing our drug without going to patients first.
And just tell us, what's a patient twin? Before we go on to the video.
So a patient twin is not someone exactly looking like me. That would not be very interesting.
It's your clone.
But it's the characterization of a disease based on pharmacogenetic, pharmacogenomic, proteinomic, based on clinical, all the modulators. So basically you use the data and you say, can I rebuild a patient suffering from asthma? And then you can go into different types of patients either. So that means that that's really the virtual analog of a patient.
That's great. Let's watch the video.
medicine, breakthroughs often feel like they take forever. But the future might be closer than we think. Imagine being able to turn years of data into actionable insights to accelerate life-saving treatments. This is the promise of digital patient twins, a groundbreaking innovation that could completely revolutionize clinical trials. Digital patient twins are virtual representations of patients based on advanced computational models that describe human physiology and disease along with a drug's mechanism of action. Digital patient twins allow us to boost probability of success and enhance trial designs by identifying high-potential drug candidates, optimizing dosing strategies, and reducing patient sample size. This is especially vital for rare diseases, where patient populations are inherently small and geographically dispersed, as well as pediatric studies with specific ethical considerations and the challenge of recruiting young patients. Digital patient twins offer a non-invasive method to generate synthetic control data, explore treatment responses across different age groups and developmental stages, reducing the reliance on real-world participants and speeding up transition between trial phases. For example, the disease modeling team's work on lunsekimig in asthma accelerated the program by 1 year, skipping Phase 2A to move directly from Phase 1B to Phase 2B. We have developed a proof of concept of digital patient twin on 2 key indications: asthma and Pompe disease. This first iteration enables clinicians to predict disease progression and treatment responses at population and individual patient level. Our goal is to build an integrated digital twin platform that expands to all Sanofi key assets and indications to bring treatments to patients faster and pioneer the journey toward personalized medicine. With digital patient twins, we have a great opportunity to create a fully integrated in silico first R&D organization. The future is already here. Let's shape it together.
Christina, if I may add one thing.
Sure, please.
So indeed, we skip a step, which is good in terms of acceleration. Awesome. This is one of the ambition. Remember, cut by 2 the time it takes to develop a drug. But remember, the attrition is high. 80 to 90% of the drug we have in research won't reach the market. But many of them will fail in Phase 2. And we will have spent a lot of money to come to that negative conclusions. What if we would be able to do a triage earlier and save? Today, the cost of development of a new drug, including all the failures, is meant to be between 2 and 4 billion. The most recent McKinsey data show 4 billion for one drug reaching the market. So if we could really decrease that, that means that we would invest in more success.
I see. That's very interesting. They were mentioning also the rare diseases. It's really helpful for that as well. So back to you, Audrey. Where does AI fit into this complex, long value chain? Tell us.
Yeah, so you have seen that this process is quite linear and complex. You can imagine that we collect a lot of data, a large amount of data of different type of structures, structured data, unstructured data, molecular data. So one of the basic things is how can we share first those data? And then the second part is how can we help people to access easily to it? Then comes AI on the top of it. And you see on this slide that we are trying to build different agents at the different stages that can ultimately work together. So far now, we have several ones that don't discuss together yet, but we are aiming to connect them between themselves. So where does it fit? It fits at every step, like the protocol design. It can be writing, it can be better design of the protocol. It can be how can we plan better our studies, find the best sites, and also find where are the patients that have this disease and that will connect with the protocol. And there are also a lot of things like data collection, automation, mapping, cleaning, that are a bit less sexy as an activity, but that still needs a lot of manual work, copy paste here and there. So there are a lot of automation behind. Maybe you want to add something.
And if I may, I mean, on this view, you still have the sequential. You have to still the traditional view, because this is the way studies is being designed and conducted. But what the tool would allow with the agent is to proactively work from the design of the protocol onto the operational aspect and have this loop, okay? But also, and I will, in terms of, I mean, one challenge we have is that often, I mean, all our trials are blinded. So basically we have placebo control, active control, I mean, and the patient doesn't know, and the doctor doesn't know which drug is taken by the patient. But the ability to monitor based on the disease model that I mentioned, monitor the data blinded and take actions to make sure that maybe there's a subpopulation that can benefit more. Maybe there's a problem at a site because there's a placebo effect higher than others, so that we can increase the quality of the data. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes, let's come back to the patient. Tell us more about the involvement of recruitment with AI.
It's me?
No, I don't know.
Oh, it's you.
No. Okay.
It's you.
It's me. Okay, cool. So you see, we've repeated a lot. So one of the biggest challenges that we are facing is how we recruit patients. Only less than 10% of the patients are entering into a clinical trials for several reasons. Sometimes they don't know the existence of a clinical trial. Sometimes they don't understand what is the purpose of the clinical trial, so we need to help them to find it. So there are a lot of initiatives that we are trying to push on to better include the clinical trials as part of the care pathway of the patients. So it comes with these new initiatives that we have led with Formation Bio, who you can see on their booth over there, so they can demo the tool.
And OpenAI.
So this partnership was designed to accelerate the patient recruitment. How? We wanted really to find and define a more tailored approach towards our patients. So how can we reach and engage with them according to their profile? So are they women? Are they men? Which social media they are looking at? All this type of thing. But the goal is not just to recruit faster. This is one of the goals, for sure, accelerate our clinical trials, but also give access to those trials to other people and being more inclusive of it.
And if I may add, just for you, you've seen some advertising for drugs. Most of them are done by PR company, communication company, and no blame. Now what we're doing is that we go back to the data and we ask AI to say, who is the patient and what's the best communication for that patient? So what's the element? What is the patient? I mean, if the patient, you look at the patient needs and say, I want that we break the efficacy ceiling. So then you have to put efficacy, or safety is matter, or I want to go back to my daily life. And that's the way we do. It's not something which is really data-driven in terms of communication and engagements we have with sites, with patients.
Let's illustrate that with a short demo. Let's watch the demo.
Muse is a groundbreaking Gen AI product developed as a first use case in the tripartite partnership with Formation Bio and OpenAI. This product is set to transform the way we define patient outreach strategies and disrupt the current manual and lengthy process. The product leverages the power of generative AI to accelerate patient recruitment and ensure diversity and inclusion in our clinical trials. Muse brings user-friendly and impactful features. Once your study project is created, the AI-powered insights help you get a clear overview of your project, including patient demographics, geography, and socioeconomic impact. Muse also provides valuable features such as source citation and opportunities for additional research to enhance your understanding of the disease and patient needs. Our patient research and recruitment strategy module generates multidimensional patient segments and recommends omni-channel recruitment approaches and campaigns tailored for each subpopulation. This ensures that your message reaches the right patients through the most effective channels. The platform identifies underrepresented patient populations and proposes targeted outreach approaches to ensure a holistic and inclusive recruitment strategy. Our patient-facing material generation module creates multimodal recruitment content. Muse generates a variety of content formats, including digital ads, flyers, brochures, and pre-screening questionnaires, adapted to the specific needs and preferences of each patient segment. This ensures that your message resonates with each patient segment and differentiates your study from the competition. The platform also provides tools for language translation and IRB compliance to ensure that your content is accurate, appropriate, and compliant.
Just to explain, I mean, it's in the usual process, it would take 3 months and a few millions to get that, plus the time to get this approved by the ethics committee, what they call IRBs in the US. And now we have the first, we launched, for the first, it took 15 minutes for patients in multiple sclerosis programs, different type population, different site, different states, and you can tell that all states are different in the US these days. And indeed, we passed all the IRB approval first round, and now it's being implemented.
Yes,
15 minutes.
Obviously, I mean, it's their regulations are very strict to get medication. So let's come back, Lionel, to the data. How AI can help with the patient data?
Okay. I've got the privilege and the honor to lead a team which is full capacity, including all our partners of 5,000 people. Half of them are touching the clinical data one way or the other. So despite we have put channels, I mean, and vehicles to get to collect digitally the data at the site, at the hospital, then after that, all the processing is manual. So it's an interesting and completely cumbersome way of doing it. And just to give you an image, if we take a program in which we have a project for which we would have 6 or 7 different indications, which is what we call a portfolio in a pill, then it means that the volume of data is bigger than the London National Library. Okay, that's bigger just for one asset, so one compound. So you imagine when you have a portfolio with 50 new molecular entities and 3 or 4 indications. So the volume is huge. So the ability to leverage AI to really streamline from the data collection. So the first step is that can we use electronic health records from the patients directly to fill into the database? Then can we automatically look at, I mean, the easy piece, data completeness, but then the second level is that the inconsistencies, but then go further down the road in terms of detecting the outliers. So today we have different modules. What we're trying to do is to connect all of them. And the ambition is really to cut by 2 the resources we need. The idea is not to have social plans, is to repurpose people to have a bigger portfolio, because what we're talking about hundreds million in terms of efficiency, and then we can really replenish the portfolio.
And we will keep a couple of minutes for the audience if you have questions. But Audrey, after collecting all this and analyzing the data, you're doing a report, I suppose, yeah?
Yeah, so that today it still needs to be readable by human. So we need to complete and compute and aggregate all those data within the documents. So one of the documents that we accelerated the generation of with generative AI is a clinical study report. This is at the end of the trial, and this is going to be into the dossier for submission to health authorities. So the time we take to write these documents today, it's from around 17 weeks after we got all the data. We try to reduce this time to 5 weeks. So this is a real acceleration on the critical path to our submission, so for most of those time. So this is super interesting for our patients and for us. And in terms of efficiency, as Lionel mentioned, there are a lot of people that have to write those reports. And today, with giving them the first draft, just the first draft, because they will continue to review, they will continue to improve it, we aim to reduce the writing time by 60%.
Let's watch that video illustrating what you just said.
Each year, our teams spend a collective 4,250 days writing clinical study reports and 19,000 days writing product quality reviews. And that's just the writing. What if we could greatly reduce the writing and review time for our technical reports, so we could shorten our time to submission, ultimately giving patients access to more advanced therapies earlier? Now we can, thanks to GenAI document creation. How does it work? GenAI facilitates data collection, extraction, and analysis from multiple sources. This AI-powered tool relies on a large language model to gather and format data, as well as draft accurate text in half the time it currently takes us. When it comes to CSRs, GenAI automatically generates content from the study protocol and statistical analysis plan. We are customizing the LLMs so that they can fully understand our clinical trials and generate relevant, accurate content which can be easily reviewed and revised by our writers. GenAI also automatically generates PQR content in just a few seconds. The user can review the report, co-edit with other collaborators, and export it for final approval. With GenAI, we're not just streamlining a process, we're unlocking potential. With the ability to process the hundreds of document types required by our clinical and regulatory functions, GenAI promises to completely revolutionize the way we communicate with regulators and the public, generating many types of reports. And quality assurance teams can now focus on what truly matters: critical thinking, data analysis, and continuous improvement. This is just the beginning. This is next-generation document creation. This is GenAI.
Well, I have to say, it's quite impressive what you can do with AI in the whole process of clinical trials. Because we have only 4 minutes left, I suggest we give the floor to the audience. And I have 2 extra questions, but if you do, yes, there are. So yes. Don't hesitate to bring it really close.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
My question is, how do you integrate the, as medical is a very regulated domain, how do you integrate the regulations on the AI algorithm or the process, for example, on patient selection, if you have to blind, and also on medical writing to ensure that every line is signed and read, like we don't cultivate the habit of not reading just to validate. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to start with the easy piece at the end. The medical writing at the end, I mean, as is written on the slide, eventually the report is reviewed and validated by a medical writer. So it's not, I push the button, the report is written, and I send it to the agency. So at the end, the relevance of the report and the quality of the report will be validated by experts, clinicians, and medical writers. So there's no challenge. And I believe that we're going to remove a lot of burden out of the agency's shoulder if we remove a few pages. You know, the report is 250, 300, 400 pages. If at the end of the day there is a relevant report that has been written in 100 pages, I'm sure they're going to love it. So I'm not too worried about this one. I guess that your question is on the point, really, on when it comes to all the disease models that we're using to prioritize the portfolio or make decision to go to a step 1. So the leucemic case on virtual study, just to give you a hint, is we moved directly to phase 2B. That means that 3 doses versus placebo, but agencies reacted differently. The FDA was, the old FDA, was really in favor of this. As much as Chinese SFDA, very proactive. European agencies, it's going to be. It was more challenging because of this step moved. I'm not saying that it's good or bad. What we know is that we will have always to bring the agencies on board, and this is what we do at every step. Explain the model, but also sometimes we will fail. We will have to go back to the traditional way. But one day, there will be places where we're going to succeed. It depends on the quality of the model. So I think your question is really on point because we don't develop by ourselves, it's with the agencies.
Actually, if you don't mind, they will stay here. You can ask them other questions. One last question, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation. Just wondering if there is at some point integrating AI to pharmacovigilance as well.
Yeah, so you can chime in. We are in the process of integrated pharmacovigilance for safety, so we want to predict the risk of the patient, the risk profiles, so that we would be able to no-go on some molecules before, but we could develop also safer drugs for a certain population of patients where we know this is safer for them. So we are just starting this journey. This is the less easy piece compared to some other piece like efficacy, where we know that we have more data on that.
So again, as I mentioned earlier, is that when we start with a target, we're going to say, this is the ID card of this target in terms of efficacy potential and safety signals. That means that we study that all along, and proactively we'll take measures to investigate and validate or invalidate this profile. So that's number one. In the clinical study, indeed, when we talk about data management of the clinical, is on efficacy, but also in safety, making sure that we don't miss any signal, and we don't wait to get those level of detection that is going to the seriousness of the disease. And then it's a continuum. It's not the end when we submit the dossier. Then once on the market, there are a number, and this is even, I would say, more powerful because the volume of data is much higher, and we can use AI to screen all the media possible to access, including social media. You know, when patients can exchange information, oh, I had a headache last night. Okay, interesting.
Well, thank you very much. A great applause to you. Thank you. And of course, you can stay and ask some questions and visit our booth. Plenty of innovation to discover. The journey from R&D, research and development, up to the patient. Enjoy. Have a great fair at VivaTech and come back to see us at Sanofi. Starting again, we have actually a presentation right now, an interview of our CEO at stage 1 with the CEO of McLaren, CEO of Sanofi with CEO of McLaren, to talk about the partnerships. And see you for here at 2 p.m. Thank you.